Hi, welcome to Bar Cart Bookshelf, a video series about books and the drinks they inspire. My name is Elias, and today we're talking about The Great Work by Sheldon Costa. It's January 2026, and in Bar Cart Bookshelf tradition, we are looking at some books from the previous year this month that I didn't have the chance to cover right when they came out, but I have just been dying to talk about, and The Great Work is one of those. It's an historical novel, historical speculative novel set in the 90s, the 1890s, just as Washington State enters the Union, and at this moment of frisson in American culture and in American frontier culture, where this westward expansion has sort of hit the Pacific Ocean, and Washington is no longer a territory, it's a state, and the aftermath of the Civil War, these tensions between indigenous Americans and white Americans, and just all, that great, delicious digging into the complications of America and the sorts of evils that pervade American culture in really thoughtful and delicious ways. It's an alchemical novel. Our main character, Gentle, his friend Liam, who has just passed, was a practicing alchemist, and it is Gentle's goal over the course of the novel to extract prima materia, the sort of prime substance of the universe, from this enormous white salamander that has been wandering through this region of Washington, causing sort of spiritual upheaval in the community. People are having strange dreams and religious revivals and all of that sort of complicated, buzzy energy that you don't know what to do with it, but the world is changing, so we're going to do something. And it's this sort of powder keg chemical reaction that's going on here. It's a really thoughtful novel. It moves along and has some really great adventure and all. I think a lot of sword and sorcery fans are really going to dig this, even though it's, set later than even the latest of what we would call traditional sword and sorcery. It's got that vibe, that sort of arc of a character, that sort of sense of adventure, that moving through the world. I think y'all are really going to dig that, as I did. And it's thoughtful and introspective as well, for all that it has these sorts of big action events. It's dealing with the idea of male-male companionship and cohabitation in a thoughtful and nuanced way, in the complications of deep male friendship. It is thinking about this, moment in American history, and this moment in scientific history, where we're starting to understand a little bit better about fossils, about the antiquity of the Earth, about evolution and change in species, and how that interacts with older models of scientific and spiritual scientific thought. It's a really wonderful novel. It's reminiscent of A Blood as Bright as the Moon that I talked about last fall, in that sort of very emotionally and intellectually mature and nuanced style. It's just on that edge of speculation. It's potent stuff. And so we had to have a drink. Our drink today is the sweet Vitriol. It takes its name from the alchemical elixir that Gentle, our main character, imbibes over the course of the novel. Though I think this is going to be a little bit better for you than the sweet Vitriol that he is taking. And we're going to begin with 2 ounces of rye whiskey. There's something about a weird Western and rye whiskey. They get along like peanut butter and jelly, like peanut butter and chocolate. Peanut butter gets along with a lot of things. Rye whiskey gets along with a weird Western. And so, we're going to get 2 ounces of our rye whiskey down into there, and then we will add our modifiers. For our alchemical herbal quality, we're going to get half an ounce of yellow chartreuse. Lovely. Get that nice and herbal, that bit of sweetness, that bit of bitterness as well. We really have these strange tidings and religious revivalisms and conflicts of white supremacy and dreams of anarchist communes, and just really thoughtful, keenly observed work. Really, really special stuff. And then we will add 1/4 of an ounce of rosemary liqueur. And if you don't have any rosemary liqueur, you can just gently muddle some fresh rosemary in the bottom of your mixing glass. It won't be quite the same, but it'll have that wonderful herbal quality. Kit, Gentle's nephew, one of our other main characters in the novel, he makes these really delicious sounding rosemary biscuits. It's an ingredient that I'm going to have to include the next time I'm mixing up some biscuits. So we'll get that in there. Again, that like piney herbal quality. And then finally, I'm going to add 1/4 of an ounce of blueberry grenadine. We have an anarchist commune, Harmony, which produces a great deal of blueberry moonshine. Since we've already got our rye whiskey, we're not going to be adding any moonshine to our sweet vitriol, but we're going to get that blueberry flavor with a bit of blueberry grenadine. This is a blueberry syrup that is lightly scented with orange blossom water. I include the recipe for it in my book, Cocktails on Consoles. We got a link to snag that in the description down below. All right, we will get, there we go. We've got all of our ingredients in our mixing glass. We'll add our ice. Always add our ice last, because you never know when you're going to have to go hunt some great white salamander, and you wouldn't want to come back to a watery cocktail now, would you? So we'll get our ice in there and give that a stir until the ice and the liquid are at about an equilibrium. Just a nice solid stir in there. Oh, that smells so good. Nice and herbal, a little bit fruity, a little bit of that spiciness of the rye, that very grain-forward quality. Lovely. And then we will strain into a rocks glass with a large ice cube, like so. Perfect. Perfect. And there you have it. This is the sweet vitriol inspired by the great work by Sheldon Costa. The great work is available now. I've got a link to snag it in the description down below. A huge thank you to the publisher, Quirk Books, for sending me a review copy all those months ago. It's one that I've just been dying to read, and I had such a wonderful time now that I finally have. We've got links to purchase my book, as I said, Cocktails and Consoles, 75 cocktails and mocktails inspired by the wonderful world of video games, including Pacific Northwest set Oregon Trail, across the entirety of North America on the Oregon Trail. But, you know, we get that in there as well. We've got links to various forms of social media, including Blue Sky and Instagram, where there is always a written version of today's recipe. Try the drink. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hit that like button. It makes me so happy when you do. Subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss an episode. We have got some really great books that I'm so excited to be talking about as we round out January, as we head into February and March. It's just going to be such a great year here on Bar Cart Bookshelf. And until next time, cheers.